I'm Cas.
And I'm Arya. And thank you for coming to Wayward Sisters. This week's episode, we're going to be talking about Yellow Fever, a fan favorite, episode 6 of season 4, if you are unaware. And let's get into it. We're going to do this chronologically. So we're going to start from the very beginning.
To the best of our ability, anyway.
To the best of our ability, because we're kind of doing this from memory at the moment.
Well, she watched the episode.
First off, the first scene, I watched the episode like 10 minutes ago, so it's fine.
The first scene is him running from that little Yorkie, isn't it? My sweet boy who shares a sense of humor and IQ.
Though, it opens and it's these bunches of like loud grumbling dog noises in the back, and Dean's just running for his life, and you're just like, is he being chased by hellhounds?
Literally getting flashbacks to the season 3 finale.
I know. He turns the corner, gets tripped over, and then he talks to that homeless man, and then you're like, this man is terrified beyond wit's measure, and you're like, wait, this is going to be a funny episode. Just because of the way Jensen acts, he just knows how to portray that.
Right.
But then the Yorkie with the little bow
and the little pink ribbon
comes around the corner and sets up the mood of the episode perfectly.
Yellow Fever. Just very fond memories of the first time I watched it. Oh, to go back.
Yeah, this last rewatching, I saw so many things, or like remembered so many things that I hadn't remembered before, hadn't seen before. But we'll get there. Okay, what's the next? So, yes, the after the whole Yorkie thing, they're in the autopsy room looking at the body of George? I think his name was George.
Maybe.
And Sam gets sprayed with spleen juice, and Dean holds a heart.
Uh-huh. And that's when they see like the scratches on their arm and stuff, which ironically is that exact spot on my arm is what itches when I start to stress itch. Fun fact. I don't know if that developed before or after I started watching Supernatural, but I realized it after. It's on my left arm, though, not my right arm. Or was theirs on their left arm as well? No, theirs was on their left arm.
Well, it was actually on both.
Jensen.
Yeah.
Jensen was scratching his left arm when they filmed it. From what I remember, anyway. Yeah, he always scratched his left arm.
The sheriff who looks, his face is really weird. He looks like some sort of animal, but, like, I can't place it.
He's a gamecock.
Like, I can't, he looks, he's a gamecock. That's exactly what it is. Gosh.
Dean and I having the same sense of humor.
I know you've never seen, X-Files, but it was the precursor, really, to Supernatural.
Right.
And my family's favorite episode is this episode called, Bad Blood. And it's about vampires in this small town in like Kentucky, in like Texas or something, and okay, I need to stop drinking the carbonation. It's a small town in Texas, and it has vampires in it. This community, and if you don't know the X-Files, there's 2 FBI agents, Mulder and Scully. Mulder being this avid believer of the supernatural and the aliens and whatever, and Scully being the skeptic. That's not a word. The one with the skepticism. Anyway, I was watching this episode, and like every other time I've seen this episode, as in Yellow Fever, always been so innately reminded of Bad Blood from X-Files, and I will make you watch it. It's so funny. You don't have to know anything about the show. Just watch this one episode.
Just the list of things that you're going to make me watch is getting longer and longer.
We got Tombstone and we got Bad Blood, X-Files.
Supernatural was on the list, but that was mostly my free will. So I'll let it slide.
True. You were just like, hey, you talk about this all the time. I'm going to watch it now.
It was like, hey, Netflix has been recommending this show for like months, and you really like it. Should I watch it? And I think you should have said no. Could you imagine if you were like, no, don't do it. You'll regret it. Which, not to say that I do, but I was put through some intense emotional torment that I'm now putting my mother through. So, which I'm not even making her watch the whole show. I'm making her watch, in total, maybe a whole season. I think less than 2 seasons. A season and a half, maybe.
23 episodes.
If that. I haven't counted. We're so not talking about what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah. You know, when you started watching it, totally didn't. I should have seen it coming, but I did not expect you to fall for Cas. I'm like, she'll like him. But, like, they're into Sam.
Well, I mean, yeah, I started
but
as...
then Cas appeared, and you were like,
I literally don't know what happened, but I do remember, like, texting you 1,000 times during, like, season 1 and 2, being like, when does Cas come in? When do I get to meet Cas? I want to meet Cas. And I didn't think I got to meet him until season 7, because that was the first time I saw his name in a blurb on Netflix, and you were like, oh yeah, season 4, and I was like, no way. So I just, like, barreled through the first 3 seasons, and I really don't remember them that clearly. Like, I have very specific memories of the first 3 seasons, but man, do I not remember them.
You did the first 3 seasons in, like, 2 weeks.
If that. Which, that's pretty telling of the way I finished the entire show, considering it took me a month and a half to watch all 15 seasons. My problem, especially because now that I've got, like, my friends watching it as well, it's like no one watches it as quickly as I did. So, where I'm like, have you gotten to, like, season 8 yet? They're like, no, I'm still on season 6. What are you talking about? I'm like, I finished seasons 6 and 7 in a day. Like, get moving. We have things to cover. We have things to talk about. And it's especially bad because I'm so bad at secrets and, like, keeping spoilers from people. That's why, like, if I see a Marvel movie or something before my friends do, I will not talk to them about it. I won't even bring it up. Because I'll spoil something. And so they're talking...
Because you're, like, afraid that you're going to slip.
No, literally. I am so bad at secrets. So bad at them. But it's fine.
We should get back on topic. The number of bloopers and behind the scenes shit that we, like, I know of this episode, it was surprising to me how much I remembered. One, Jim Beaver can actually speak Japanese.
Yeah. And the one clip of Jensen doing, like, the kitten in the locker scene, and he, like, screams and jumps around and jumps into Jared's arms, and Jared just goes, Jesus Christ.
Also, okay, my favorite behind the scene thing from this episode was the snake menagerie or reptile menagerie scene.
I told my mom about
the interview with the guy.
I told my mom about that because we watched Yellow Fever together.
Did you make her watch?
I made her watch Yellow Fever recently. And that whole scene with the snakes, I, like, was telling her the story. I was like, the snake wouldn't cooperate all day, and Jared freaked out and had to leave set. I was explaining, like, so they had to, like, turn the camera so you couldn't really tell that Jared wasn't there, but he, like, very clearly wasn't on set. And I was like, that is why Jensen looks so genuinely afraid, because he was probably actually, like, shitting his pants. Because the snake, I was like, and you can hear the handler behind the couch, like, trying to get the snake to cooperate. And Jensen's just like, sit still, sit still, sit still.
Feed the snake over.
And my mom sees the snake come over the couch. She just goes, oh, hell no. Fuck that. It's like, I'm related to her. Proud child moment.
No, I thought that was so hilarious. That was one of the things, little stories that I'd spoiled for myself by watching all the panels beforehand. And so, something about that really makes me even more excited to watch it for the first time, because I finally get, like, the full context of what they're actually talking about. And I can imagine fourth season?
Yeah.
Yes. Fourth season, Jared just freaking out and just walking and, like, power walking to the director's tent and be like, no, just,
I can't do it, I can't do it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll just pan in on Jensen. It fills my heart with so much joy.
I was watching Scooby Natural blooper reel today, and I was just thinking about Jared talking to the directors, because they told Misha to call Shaggy, like, a burnout, and Jared's like, maybe we shouldn't. This is the one time I will praise Jared Padalecki. He gets 1. He was like, burnout has a really negative connotation. Maybe we shouldn't be using that word. And then they, like, changed it to Philistine. And Misha's like, actually, that's a lot funnier. So, also, could you imagine if we had Castiel in Yellow Fever?
Oh my gosh, the chaos that would...
Especially because it would still be, like, Castiel with a stick up his ass.
Yeah, he's all...
Like, rank and file Castiel.
See, the thing is, when I rewatch episodes now, I actually watch the previously on stuff.
Yeah,
so I
recap.
can be, like, resituated into, like, the... Exactly. I watched the recap, and in the recap for this episode, Castiel was in it. And I'm like, I don't even know. I wasn't even necessarily watching it. I was kind of listening to it. I was working. And I swear, the first image that popped into my head was not literally, but, like, an image of Castiel with you basically, like, your energy basically saying, stick up his butt.
Just every time someone uses the phrase, like, you had to stick up your ass, I think of the scene when Cas is talking to Michael, and it's, like, season 15, I think, because it's towards the end, when he goes, to paraphrase a friend, you had an entire oak tree shoved up your ass. I love him so much that we will have an episode dedicated to Castiel, because me and, like, how much I love him came so out of left field for both of us. I went from being in love with the youngest to the oldest in a matter of seconds.
Yes.
It was crazy, but we'll talk about that another day.
It was that one episode, and you were like, screw Sam, let's screw Cas.
Girl, no, stop it. That's illegally accurate. That is not allowed. I would like to talk about that. So you know how it's like Dean got infected because he's a dick? They kind of just breeze past that. But they used fear as a weapon, and that's why they hated him. And he's like, Dean, you use fear as a weapon all the time. I think that is perfectly valid, but Dean also uses fear as, like, a defense mechanism. And of the, if it bleeds, you can kill it kind of thing. As a reason for him to never be scared of anything and to make things fear him instead. I don't know, he's not one for showing emotions, especially fear. Especially when he's around Sam.
Yeah, well, because that was what he was trained to do. He is a soldier. He's meant to put his life on the line to protect others, and he has to be fearless to do that. And do it, like, in the process of that happening, he got into the habit of, brushing aside his emotions. And, well, that was an effect of multiple things, but he brushed aside his emotions, told himself all the things he needed to hear to keep him unafraid.
Leans into Mike, repressed bisexual. This is a John Winchester hate podcast, just in case you were wondering.
100% true. But I've always been bothered by the fact that they put Dean as the dick of the two of them. I mean, of the two of them, I don't think either of them would have really gotten the ghost sickness, except it's funnier when Dean
has it, because, like, you see him go from, like, big, strong, tough, like, shell of a man,
macho man,
to, like,
well,
running,
the contrast is hilarious.
Running out the door when he sees a ghost. I don't know. My mom thought it was really funny, and obviously it is really funny, but it's, like, also really, like, shocking, like, the contrast.
Yeah, which is kind of sad in the same way. He's, like, you kind of realize in the contrast that you don't see him show fear, except from, like, that one episode in season 1 with the airplane.
Or any of the episodes where he just straight up,
airplane.
like, it's not even that he shows, like, genuine fear. It's just, like, him literally saying the words, like, I'm scared. But that's generally has, like, a different, like, connotation than just straight up being afraid of something that is scary.
Yeah, because there's, like, the comical fear, which is what this episode is based on.
And then there's, like, the mortal fear.
Yeah, so, and you can get it, you get it from Dean in, like, really, really intimate moments, like, no one else is around except, like, the antagonist or whatever. Because in this episode, Lilith comes in.
Yeah, she does.
And I know he's all, ghost sick and whatever, but he sees her, and she's talking about him going back to hell, and, she's bringing up all the stuff that he did in hell and him liking it, and you kind of remember that throughout the whole of the season, every time it's brought up, he's just terrified, like, either of himself or of Sam knowing. Well, no, he told Sam. He did straight up tell Sam, but, like, still, he hates himself for it.
It was after this episode, because Dean straight up lied about his hallucinations to Sam at the end of the episode.
Oh, that's true.
Because he's like, the conversation, I think, in a nutshell, goes, What were your hallucinations? What did you see? A room full of howler monkeys.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I think.
Cool thing. The thing is, so his whole hallucination thing before the whole ghost sickness was cured was he saw Sam, being quote unquote possessed, but then it was like he was
like, I'm not possessed,
Sam.
This is me now, Dean. And he's like, no.
Exactly. But the thing is, I didn't notice this until, like, today, is that when Sam asked, hey, what were your hallucinations at the end? He pauses and he looks at Sam in the eyes, and they flash yellow.
Yes, I do recall that. And I remember, I think I sent you a text about it. I maybe I'm making this up, but I swear to God, I vividly remember sending you a text that went, I know Sam's eyes did not just go yellow. I know they did not. Because I was like freaking the fuck out.
I think I vaguely remember that, but it was one of those things like I don't actually know what episode you're on because that I hadn't noticed it before. So when you said it, I was like, they did. Okay, gotta kind of roll with it.
Just like rolling with the punches. Also, I sent you so many text messages while I was watching it that like, Lord knows what episode I was actually talking about. Because I think there is more than one episode where Sam's eyes flash yellow. I think there's more than one.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think there is more than one.
I can't remember any off the top of my head, but they're probably in the first couple seasons, so
yep.
It's been a while.
Sorry.
But dang, I'm like, yeah, Dean sees that, and then he kind of, like, he's about to say something, he sees it, and he's like, still kind of scared, still, I'm not entirely, I don't entirely trust you, I don't want to say this out loud, I don't want you to know this.
Oh my gosh. I saw a Wincest edit this morning, and I felt so gross, I literally felt like I needed to take a shower. I was like, the crazy is on me. I literally sat there like, I feel like the whole edit is bad touching me. I'm so uncomfortable. I was like, what am I watching? And I was scrolling through the comments, and cause I saw someone take like a picture or like stitch something from the original edit, and it was the Misha edit that I had liked that was making fun of the Wincest edit. Because they were, they were Misha antis, which, imagine having no taste. But they were, and I went back and watched the edit. And credit where credit is due, it was a good edit. If they weren't shipping brothers. Drop mic. Walks away.
The skill is there. The respect for the skill is there, but not the content.
But, they're related! And, the comments were they were like, these two men are in love and you can't change my mind. I'm like, you need therapy more than I do. And
100%.
There were a couple, there were clearly, some hellers in the audience because they left comments and everybody on both sides were starting fights in that comment section because fucking Wincesties, who cares? That's gonna get cut out. Here's my thing. I'm the first one to talk shit about Wincesties, but as soon as they come at my Twitter, I run for cover.
That whole end scene, Dean is only wearing one shirt.
I
was looking at
He's practically naked.
Yes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you look so good.
No, literally.
I was it shocked me so much, and I was just staring. I swear, I backed it up a couple times, and I'm like,
Me rewatching that one clip in Stonehenge Apocalypse where Misha takes off his belt.
It's not even a sexy taking off of the belt. It's just, it rips it off and then
That's
ties
what
it
makes
as a
it
tourniquet.
sexy. That's what makes
Bro,
it
it's not even framed right.
It's still sexy. They should have zoomed in on it though. Oh, and that one scene where Misha takes off his tie.
Oh yeah.
Anything that involves Misha stripping is really attractive, but could just be that I want. Never mind. I'm not going to finish that.
All the times on the panels that the cast members have stripped.
Oh yeah, there was a charity auction where Misha put a T-shirt in his pants and flossed it. And it sold for $500 after it went through Misha's pants, which valid. I would have paid every cent to my name. Shameless. I really hope our teachers don't listen to this episode. They don't need to know that I'm this mentally ill.
We've already advertised it to them. They're going to watch it. Well,
No, they're not.
No, they aren't. They haven't.
No,
they
they're
aren't. Dad's definitely not.
They
My
love
dad.
us, but they won't. Especially if the episode's like a full ass hour.
Yeah, nah. Not gonna happen.
Do you know who can hold my attention for an hour? Misha Collins. That's it.
Yes. For however long Stonehenge Apocalypse is, too.
It's an hour and a half.
Nothing but Misha Collins can get.
No, literally, the only reason I watched that movie is because it stars Misha, and it's such a bad movie.
It really is.
But man, could I watch it forever?
How many times they say electromagnetic in whatever, like, electromagnetic field.
I'm gonna find a PDF of the script and, like, just Command F that shit and figure it out. Because they say it way too often.
Oh, no, wait. We were watching something, and they said electromagnetic in it, and we died.
We were reading Castiel's page on the Supernatural Wiki. That's what it was.
Yes!
Because I was fucking cackling at it. Because I was like, oh my god, electromagnetic fields. And our teacher and our classmates were looking at us like we were crazy, laughing about electromagnetic
fields.
But it was really funny at the time. We are so off topic. No one's going to like this episode because we do not talk about what we're supposed to talk about. Content, people. We are more entertaining.
We're more entertaining the more off topic we go. It gets chaotic here.
It's not like Yellow Fever in itself is not... It's not a plot-heavy episode, so it's not like there's a lot of things to talk about.
Okay, wait. There is something on here.
I want to talk about Dean's fear of heights. What's the deal with that, besides, flying? Like, their motel room was on the 4th floor, and he wouldn't go up there.
He won't... Here's the thing. I noticed something. He wouldn't even go in and talk to the clerk to change their room. Sam had to do it.
The man has social anxiety.
Yes.
He has social anxiety.
Here's the thing. Like everything else he does, he puts on a false face and then goes out into the world and does whatever he wants. But when the fear comes bubbling to the surface, as it does in every aspect of his life in this episode, he just can't.
Uh-huh. I was thinking, what was I going to say? I had a thing that I was going to say, and now I don't remember what it was. Damn.
Oh, did we talk about the Eye of the Tiger blooper?
No.
Because that is freaking hilarious.
My mom, when I made her watch it, she's like, I've already seen this episode because I've seen the blooper. I'm like, the blooper is everywhere. That doesn't mean you've seen the episode. So we watched the episode.
Is so funny.
We watched the episode, and we watched the blooper, and I just loved that man.
Oh, okay. Back on topic. Iconic moments. So there's a whole breakdown when Dean's like, you know who does that? Crazy people.
You're gassy.
Get toxic, man.
I listen to the same 5 albums over and over and over again, and I sing along. I'm annoying. I know that. Ugh. My boy. I love him. I love Dean so much. But also him and I are so much alike. But that whole breakdown is so enjoyable to watch.
It's iconic. It's hilarious. And, it's everything. You get, even in that small little thing, you get so many insights onto, the characters and their lives and their thoughts. And, when Sam eats a burrito, he gets gassy. Downright toxic.
The motel waitress with the bizarre rash.
This is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's a lot to talk about.
But, okay, what's, the fan response to it? I mean, it's huge. And, I mean, it's just... I could immediately tell when I first watched the episode, why it was such a big deal. Like you said earlier, though, it's like not plot heavy, but it has so many great moments in it. Like just little quips. The script was amazing. The story was awesome. Oh, okay. One thing I remembered I wanted to talk about is that when they, the way they killed the ghost at the very end, by dragging it through the streets. Well, yeah, to like scare it into dying. I just could not stop thinking about that like one episode of Criminal Minds where there was these groups of people that would get I think they'd like capture people who would who owned the money or whatever, and they drag them through the streets and they would like fall into pieces, and I just couldn't help but like feel so grossed out by it. It's from the earlier seasons. I've watched it like at least twice at this point because I haven't finished Criminal Minds yet. But it was
sits here with 15 seasons worth of knowledge of Criminal Minds.
Gosh, you go and spoil some of it for me, and I'm just like,
I thought
we go to jail.
Oh, he doesn't go just to jail. He goes to prison. In Mexico.
He goes to prison. In Mexico. You didn't tell me that part.
In Mexico. Well, he gets extradited to the States, so it's, like, fine, but...
He gets wrongly imprisoned. Falsely imprisoned? Was he framed? He was framed.
No. It's never really confirmed whether or not he actually killed her. Nobody really knows.
Who? Kill who? No, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
She's not. She's only mildly important. But we also we never meet her, but we know that she was important.
Never meet her. This is a supernatural podcast.
Supernatural podcast starts talking about Criminal Minds.
Hey, would you guys enjoy that? Criminal Minds discussion here. I can get motivation to actually finish the last, 4 seasons.
The last 4 aren't that good.
They're shorter, though.
I don't like season 15.
I could binge. I don't know. I could get over the summer. I could,
over the
if
summer.
I had the time, I could just binge watch it.
That.
Yeah. Okay, let's wrap up this episode.
Alright, well, I have been Cass.
And I have been Arya, and thank you for listening if you even got this far. Next week's episode is going to be Demon Dean, so that's going to be really fun. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Wayward Sisters Pod if you want to check that out. We have behind the scenes stuff and additional fun things and questions and whatever if you'd like to participate in that. So, you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next week.